What is going on, New York Giants fans? Welcome to another video from Hit Squad Productions. Today, I want to look ahead towards free agency. The Giants have some impending free agents that, they're going to have to really think hard on whether they should bring back or not. We're going to make some videos talking about the free agent class coming up and some players that we think the Giants should consider bringing back and some players that we think the Giants should get rid of. Now, one of the players we're going to take a look at is Wayne Gallman. Now, Wayne Gallman, we drafted in the 4th round, 140 overall back in 2017. Drafted him out of Clemson. Now, if you guys remember, Jerry Reese actually selected him. He signed him for a 4-year, $2.8 million deal. And he's actually one of the few picks from the Jerry Reese era that has really stuck with the Dave Gettleman regime. Now, going into this year, prior to the Saquon Barkley injury, Gallman was our 3rd string running back, and really you saw him climb the ranks through the weeks, and he ended up being our best back out of Dion Lewis, Alfred Morris, and Devontae Freeman, and he really carried this offense that time through the season. Now, compared to Saquon, Gallman is definitely a different back, and there's no arguments there. But when I think of Wayne Gallman, to me, he's more of an undersized power back more than anything. Now, what I love about Wayne Gallman is, compared to Saquon, Wayne's ability to take the ball and hit the open hole straight up the middle, it's definitely a breath of fresh air. And as much as I love Saquon Barkley, he is my favorite player on the Giants currently, he doesn't run up the gun too much. We all know he likes to take it outside. He likes to juke guys out. But Gallman isn't going to do too much jumping around. Maybe he'll do one cut here or there. But, for the most part, he finds a lane, he sticks to it, and that's about it. Now, Wayne Gallman had easily his best season this year, and that was primarily due to Saquon Barkley and his injury. Now, looking at Wayne Gallman, off 147 attempts, he had 682 yards. He averaged 4.6 yards per carry. His longest run was actually in the Seattle game, where it was a 60-yard run, if you guys remember. He had 6 touchdowns. Now, on the receiving end, he had off 21 receptions, 114 yards, 5.4 in receptions. He had no touchdowns, and his longest catch was for 19 yards. Now, Wayne Gallman, throughout his career, he's never really had, that much time, especially considering the fact, we drafted Saquon Barkley, and then on top of that, he had some fumbling issues, if you guys remember earlier in his career. Now, 2019, obviously with, Saquon being in the mix, plus Saquon being injured, he had 29 attempts for 110 yards. He averaged 3.8 yards. Now, he also had 2 touchdowns. His longest run was for 22 yards. And in 2018, 51 attempts, 176. He averaged 3.5 yards. He had 1 touchdown. He really didn't do too much. And, in 2017, he had an impressive year. It's definitely his 2nd best year that he's had. Off 111 attempts, he had 476 yards, 4.3 average per carry. His longest run was for 24 yards, but he had no touchdowns. Now, receiving-wise, nothing too impressive, honestly. One thing I do think would be impressive is in his rookie season, off of 111 attempts, he had 476 yards. He averaged 4.3 yards per carry. His longest runs for 24 yards. He had no rushing touchdowns. But on the receiving aspect, that same season, he had 34 receptions, 193 yards, averaged 5.7 yards per catch, and he also had 1 touchdown to go with that. So, looking at Wayne Gallman, the thing with Wayne Gallman, you're hearing, that he wants to become a number 1 running back on a team, and with Saquon coming back from this injury, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen, at least on the Giants. Gallman, don't get me wrong, he's a solid back, He's had some fumbling issues. That's always been my biggest issue with Wayne Gallman, throughout his career. But in all honesty, as much as I love Wayne Gallman, I don't think the Giants should bring him back. He's had some good games, especially that Seattle game where he had that 60-yard run. And we did have games where this offense was getting 100 yards on the ground collectively, whether that was between Wayne Gallman and Alfred Morris or those two and Daniel Jones. You saw this offense take strides, and Gallman was a focal point in this offense running game. Now, with all that being said, to me, one thing I really, really dislike about Wayne Gallman is that he has really slow downfield speed. Now, Gallman has always been, a bull back to me, definitely a power back. He's not your typical scat back like Saquon. You know, a lot of Giants fans will kind of be like, Saquon is a scat back. Saquon is a scat back. He's just an oversized scat back. That's really it. But, you know, I also think, you know, his cuts could be better. He's a decent pass catcher out the backfield. You know, we all know he has fumbling issues, which you saw earlier in his career. He damn near costed us the game in Dallas. But I also think, you know, with how replaceable the running back position is and how short, you know, that position goes, it's a position that's relatively easy to replace. You know, you can get a running back to complement Saquon Barkley in later rounds. You can get one for cheap in free agency. Or at a worst case, you can get lucky with an undrafted running back, which we actually saw that happen with the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. James Robinson, who reached 1,000 yards this year, you know, he reached 1,000 yards faster than any undrafted rookie in NFL history, I believe. So, you know, it's just, I think a lot of Giants fans really need to consider that as much as of a fan I am of Wayne Gallman, you know, and I think a lot of Giants fans would want Wayne Gallman back. There are better options out there. And personally, I don't think Wayne Gallman complements Saquon Barkley. And you saw Jason Garrett really have to change this offense and tailor his offense to the style of run game Wayne Gallman brought. Because it wasn't working with Devontae Freeman. It wasn't really working with Dion Lewis. You know, obviously, you know, Wayne Gallman and Saquon Barkley aren't the same back. And, you know, you guys don't need me telling you that. But they're two different backs that require two different schemes to fit in. You know, I think that, you know, the style of plays that we were calling with Alfred Morris and, you know, Wayne Gallman, it's not necessarily going to work the same way with Saquon Barkley, considering the fact, again, completely different back. Now, yes, we did bring in Dion Lewis this year, who to me somewhat complements Saquon, but even then, Dion Lewis didn't do much. So overall, I'm not bringing Wayne Gallman back in free agency. Maybe on a cheap deal, but even then, I'm just not sure. I think there's better options out there that you can look for, whether it's in the draft, whether that's in free agency, and you can find a better back that can complement this offense and absolutely complement Saquon Barkley. But let me know your thoughts below. What do you guys feel about Wayne Gallman? Should we bring him back? And if so, why? Let me know. Because, you know, I love Wayne Gallman. You know, I'm a fan of the Wayne train, but at the same time, look, you can get a better option out there in free agency. You can get a better option in the draft if you choose to do so, or even an undrafted running back. It's possible. You know, it's a short life position, unfortunately, but at the same time, you know, when we have Saquon Barkley on the field, we are going to need depth because it's kind of looking like he's injury prone, but I just think that we really have a bell cow and we just need someone that can complement Saquon Barkley, and we just don't have that right now. I don't think Wayne Gallman is that back, and unfortunately, I just don't think that he's going to be in the Giants' long-term future. But let me know your thoughts below. If you're new to the channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, follow us on Twitter. We'll see you guys in the next video.